Hi everyone, how are you doing? What's going on? Alright, let's have a quick reminder for what we've had for last week. We talked about the high priest's clothes and focused on the shoulder pieces of his vest, on which the names of the tribes of Israel are written there. We ended up with an open question. What is the responsibility placed on my shoulders? What am I to carry on my back? And with a prayer to find out what my mission is that I have to carry on my back. That's for last week. And now for this week. So I'd like to start with a question. Have you ever been called like hundreds times a day? Or that at work they just needed you so many times? But when you receive a call or when you're being called, do you sigh, complain? I mean, there is something within us that doesn't like to be called. That I'm needed. Like, enough! What do you want from me? Just leave me already! Now, from the flood of those sensations we have in our bodies, let's take a look at the end of the book of Exodus, Shmot, till the beginning of the book Leviticus, Vayikra. So Moses had already finished building and connecting the tabernacle. And then something very special is happening. And the cloud covered the tent of meeting, and the glory of God filled the tabernacle. And Moses could not come to the tent of meeting because the cloud was over him, and the glory of God filled the tabernacle. So what did we read? After the construction of the tabernacle is completed, a cloud covers the tabernacle. While the glory of God fills the tabernacle, Moses cannot get in. Something that inspires amazement and humility. Moses knows that right now it is not his place to be there. And so he doesn't urge. He waits. Waits and lets God to find the right time to call him, to talk to him. For example, one doesn't turn to a person while he is angry. So when that person turns to me, he does so of his own free will, with focus. So as we understood, right now there is a situation where Moses is waiting, outside the tabernacle where currently he has no place. Then in parashat Vayikra happens the breaking point. Let's read one more pasuk. And he called to Moses, and the Lord spoke to him from the tent of meeting. We are being told that God calls and speaks to Moses from the tabernacle. It is very rare and interesting to see that the Torah use a rather rare and unusual phrase, and God called. Usually we hear, and he will speak, or and he will say. In the context of the construction of the tabernacle, there is something very special, and I would like to reflect on that. Let's look at Rashi's words on the latter pasuk. The voice keeps reaching his ears, and all Israel doesn't hear. Rashi explains us that when God calls Moses, only he hears, not Aaron, not Yoshua, none of Am Israel, no one, only Moshe. This call is a very personal call, sharp and powerful call. Chumash Vayikra begins with the very first communication that takes place in the tabernacle between the divine and human beings. God's call to Moses. So even before the content of God's words to Moses, this call itself is important to me. When someone calls me, I am required to listen, to be attentive, be focused. And being focused in this situation, listen with an inner attention to my heart, to what is unfolding in my heart, to this important question of, what does God ask from you, from me? What does God require from you, from me? We will end with an open question for thought. Am I ready to listen? Am I able to be available? To meet this desire and the inherent responsibility? Am I ready to look inside myself and discover the treasures hidden with me that God gave me? In prayer, we may be privileged to have the ability and openness required so that we can really look into our innermost being and draw out these points from the depth of our hearts. See you next time. A good Shabbos. Shabbat Shalom.